Recording in progress, she says. Recording in progress. Eileen, I think I've got it.
Tell me.
I think I've got the name of this project that we're doing.
Recording in progress?
33 questions with Eileen and Trey.
It's original.
It is remarkable. 33 questions with Kelly Chase, the mystical, beautiful guru of the world. Kelly, what's shaking?
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Here we are. We just need to solve all of life's big questions and problems. I don't know, the next few minutes.
Okay.
And then we'll shoot the shit.
Yeah. How are you, Kelly? Now, first of all, you're now a big time celebrity. You're now like a coach and all the things. I've got a trillion questions for you, but how are you, girl?
I'm doing good. I'm doing better. I had COVID the last week and a half or 2 weeks, so I'm doing a lot better now.
How does COVID feel like for a super healthy person like you?
Yeah, interesting. I didn't get the nausea and diarrhea, so thank God. And I did not get like the congestion. Like I have felt worse with a common cold, honestly. So although whatever symptoms I did have, although they lingered for 2 weeks, I still never felt like I was dying. So that was good. But there were some, there were some times that I was like, on a daily basis, like, because you just like don't know. So it was kind of like the fear of like all the fears started popping up. Like, am I gonna like start not being able to breathe? So, those things did cross my mind, but being a mindset coach, I was like affirming some like healing mantras into myself. So like, I'm healing, my cells are rejuvenating. I just kept like telling myself that kind of thing all the time. But I don't know. I just kept eating. I was like eating smoothies. Granted, I didn't have my taste for like for 6 days. So, there was the comfort food type of thing happening, but I don't know. I just kind of like allowed myself to rest. That was probably I was just giving myself grace. I had to like reschedule all of my appointments, and that was, I didn't work.
You're alive. You are alive. So everything you did worked. I have a buddy that just texted me, and he and his wife had COVID, and he said he got the new drug at the hospital. And he feels like $1 million. I've never even heard of it. Like, what's this drug? He's like, oh yeah, it's the greatest thing in the world. Blah, 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 I feel great. Like, oh, well, I guess they figured it out now. So that's good.
I guess so. I guess so.
No more need for a strong mindset because we have Wellbutrin or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
to feel it. So let's get into this thing. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to have a little conversation. We do have 33 questions that we always have written down, and you get to choose a number down the road here in our chat and answer the questions if you want. But you are doing it all, girl. TV, working with women, like mindset, business coaching, on and on, wellness and physical and mental and like super busy.
Yeah, super busy.
So cool.
But it's awesome.
Cool.
I love it.
For sure. It's so cool. So let's get into it. What is wellness?
What is wellness?
Yeah. What is wellness? Like it's like a word that the whole world's like, but like to the common person, it's like, well, I wonder what that is. Like, what in your world, in your mind, what is wellness? I guess.
To me, wellness is like 360 degrees. It's your relationship health, your financial health, your spiritual health, your actual like physical health, mental health, your environmental health as well. So if you like finding balance in all of those, something I learned through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, which was the health coaching program I went through, is, we have to have that balance in order for ourselves to be healthy. And the true healthy is, okay, well, do I feel it? Usually, typically, basically how I guess measure it is if you are feeling an imbalance in one area of your life, there is another imbalance happening. So let's say you're not eating properly? Well, it's not necessarily because you don't know how to eat. You might not, but it's probably because your job is like so demanding and you don't have time to eat. So you're like eating at your desk and you're shoveling food in your mouth, or your relationship you just got broken up with or something. So now you're eating like everything because you're emotionally eating, or you're not eating anything because you're absolutely devastated. Like we have to like dive into like all the other contributing factors as to like why you're out of balance. So wellness is trying to find the balance in everything that you're doing. And it goes like so much further into like spirituality and all that, feminine, masculine energy balance. And
Oh, we'll get into that. Don't
Where-
you worry.
Where's the first place you go when you're trying to figure out what's wrong and you're trying to investigate?
Well, I tune inward. I start asking myself, like I didn't have a spiritual practice for a long time. I think spirituality is like tuning into yourself and really truly communicating with the self. So like like literally having conversations with your mind. Like, why am I feeling bad? Where is this coming from? And asking yourself those questions, doing journaling prompts. So then meditation, utilizing the power of silence to really tap into yourself. But I probably, as far as like more of a tangible thing, is like your relationships, like really honing in on like where your relationships are with, whether it's family, intimate, social, coworkers, that kind of thing. Like, how is your work life? Like, how are the relationships in every area? Because it's 9 times out of 10, it's probably some relationship is not going the way that you would like it to be. Maybe it's a family thing and your sibling rivalries or suck.
Hey, I didn't think it would take us this long to get to relationships and love, but I'm on board. I always get to the part like, well, what do you think about love and everything?
Yeah.
Super interesting. But I do love the fact that you brought up relationships, because I do believe that's the most important thing ever. And then I also think, well, why is it so hard for a lot of us to have, let's just call it healthy relationships, right? Fear, like
yeah, people are so afraid to actually communicate and be real and honest with their true feelings. That's something just personal note here, my family, we've had family struggles, and that's been the biggest thing, is us just being really honest with one another. I've had a therapy session with my sister and had to be very honest with her, and it was extremely powerful and sad and emotional and all kinds of things.
And hard as balls, I would suspect.
Yeah, very hard. But like you work through it. I mean, it may have taken us a few hours, but
Did you grow up in one of those like we don't talk about things family?
No, it was always a very open, and even my parents, they were like, you can always come to us, we may not agree with your choices, but we'll never like not love you anymore. We'll always love you. So feel free to like talk to us about anything. It's always open, but there are just some things we get shameful about, or, have a hold guilt on, inside of us. So yeah, it's been interesting, but that's like my biggest thing is communication. I mean, even like now, like how I show up with like relationships and dating myself, like I get straight to the point. I'm like, this is what I'm here for. Like, granted, I'm 36. Like, I'm not 22 anymore. Like, we're not here to play games.
I am.
Like, you are. Yes. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
It's super interesting. And I think you're right about the communication. Then I think in my mind, what's so hard about communicating? And I'm sure boundaries is a part of it, and people pleasing, and, not wanting to be accepted, I guess, when you boil it down, right? And if you have a hard conversation, there's a chance that you won't be accepted. That's terrifying, Eileen. That's terrifying.
It is.
Well, it's layered on with social media because everything's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they create this, I literally just did a podcast episode yesterday that, even just like television, it's based on drama and not communicating effectively. Like being a mindset coach, like I'll be watching, whether it's reality TV or like a regular sitcom, and I'm like, if they would just talk to each other, they would just communicate, this would have all been avoided.
Man.
you know, it's just not something that it's highlighted and impressed. So yeah, but communication is key to everything. It would solve a lot of problems. I mean, so many people make assumptions and then create stories in their own head, and that's the thing that makes even the bigger conflict, you know? Like, that's why girls are crazy, because we create stories in our head.
She said it, not you, Trey. Although Trey, you know what that's like. Stories in your head, don't you?
I'm a basket case. I'm a 4 on the Enneagram, which is just the worst Enneagram number that you could possibly have. Total basket case, always up in my head, overanalyzing everything, plus a lot of other imprinting and programming or whatever the stuff is.
Yeah.
But yeah, communication is like, they didn't teach me that in school or wherever I grew up. So, hey, have you always had a strong mindset? And if not, or if so, when did it start? How did you talk to us here? Like, the mindset's super important.
Yeah.
Walk us through the development of I guess you would call it a strong mindset. Like, what's the goal?
Yeah. Stronger mindset. Yeah, I mean, we all have a mind. We all have a mind. But back in 2018 was when I started like listening to podcasts and reading personal development books. And that is when it started to actually shift and grow my awareness. Because that's what having a strong mindset is. It's having what you can create change.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked later after 2000, I guess, the end of 2018 is when I had like invested in a mindset coach myself. Mm-hmm. And so she was able to like call me out on my limiting beliefs and the stories that I was telling myself, and which was creating my results. And so that is why I actually transitioned from health coaching into the business and mindset coaching space myself. Cause I was like, wow, whatever she just did to me, like holy Christmas, like you just saved me, hundreds of dollars. Therapist, more or less.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's just bringing awareness. So like I said, like doing meditation, sitting in silence with yourself, that helps you to bring awareness to your own thoughts, feelings, and emotions so that you can actually create change or learn how to create change. But so it's just doing kind of stuff, working with someone, investing your energy into having the accountability to learning how to continue to grow in your awareness. Like, it's just increasing your emotional intelligence, more or less. So, I mean, I read every day. I never used to read. In high school, I did Cliff Notes. I hated reading. I read all the time now. I'm like, and I want a book. I don't necessarily want to read it on my phone or like, the computer. I need a book. So
you're a nerd now, basically, is what you're telling us.
Yeah. And I love it. I absolutely love it.
When did you hate meditating?
When did I hate meditating?
What do you do if you hate meditating?
What do you do if you hate meditating? Do you ever do like guided meditations?
Hate it. Let me tell you, I have found one thing that I like. There is a ridiculous, cheesy walking meditation. The music is so bad. It is so bad. It's really awful. And there's something about it that I do kind of like, and I listen to that and I walk in Piedmont Park, and every time there's this cheesy part that hits, and I'm like, oh, nature. And so then I notice the trees and I'm like, is that meditating? That's it for me. That's all I'm going to do. That's the best it's ever going to get.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely will like lay on my couch and just sit in absolute silence and just, like I said, bring awareness to my thoughts. But then, I mean, granted, I know like my sister's an energy healer, and she does like, my sister can meditate for like 3 hours. Like but like sitting in silence, like no guided anything. Yeah. I'm more of a meditation person. Like I'll go on YouTube and type in like 15 or 30-minute guided meditation or visualization. And those are powerful for me. So, but I mean, just sitting in silence, I guess that's sometimes when it's like, there's resistance that pops up and you're like, oh God, when will this be over? Like, when can I just stop?
That's what happens.
And then I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. I should get up. I should sit down. Oh shit, this sucks. Why does it suck? I hate myself for it sucking. On and on and on and on and on and on. And then there's like a pause for a second. You're like, oh, is it? And back to the thoughts. And then you're like, well, I had it for a second. had it for a second. That's a, oh, let's do a question now, Eileen. How about that?
Yeah, but I do want to ask before you do the questions. So I have this thing, whenever I come back from a trip where, it's just been this amazing thing and I'm living in this world. And then I come back and I'm like, this sucks. Real life sucks. So I was curious, what was life like when you got back from the reality show? Like, was that a mind fuck?
Yeah. That's why I invested in a mindset. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, granted, like I literally talked to someone and like was like in someone physical space 6.5 weeks, like just talking to like that person. So after filming was over and we decided like I mean, backstory, we wanted to actually date each other. Like we had determined from the very beginning, we were like probably not going to get married. Like this wasn't the way neither of us wanted to get married. So we were like, yeah, we'll just like date after the show, whatever. But he could not like compartmentalize me from the show. And he like bottled up and he was like, I'm just so over the show. And unfortunately, like you're a part of the show. So I'm just over you. I'm over all the things. So we didn't date after the show, but I like literally he didn't communicate that until like our last day of filming. And he waited for like the last second to tell me before he had to like go do an interview. And I was like, wait, what? Like, you don't want to keep dating me? Like, I don't know. So I felt like really rejected. So of course I was like heartbroken after that. And so, yeah, that's when I like had to reach out to a girl that I had already witnessed her coaching before. And I was like, I need to go like all in on my business. Like, I just need to get my mind off of that shit. And that's when I dove mindset stuff. And I realized I was like, oh, I'm not in love with that man. I just hated being rejected again. So, yeah, it helped me to heal and work through that process. So that was good. But yeah, it was definitely really difficult because like I didn't know, like I hadn't worked in 7 weeks. I didn't have any money coming in. I was already getting myself into debt. So, and yeah, and it just like my brain was so freaking chaotic, like for a solid few months after the fact of it doing the show. So it was hard to get myself back on track. I used to work out all the time, like lift weights, do that kind of thing. I've not even gotten back on that train yet. Like I'll do yoga and like go for my walks outside and everything. But like, as far as like actually like strength training, I'll pick up the weights from time to time, but like recommitting to that, like I'm just, and maybe it's just like not my thing anymore. Maybe yoga is just more my exercise now, but like, I don't know. I have anxiety from the last few years. I don't know. It's been like kind of a interesting health situation for me since the show.
Yeah.
So I've had to coach myself a lot, but also, I mean, I have coaches myself, but yeah, it's been a interesting thing for me too, just getting my health back on track and my mental health with everything. I mean, after the show aired last February, like I was still working full time. So I had full time, I was coaching, I was having, the people pleasing, of course, like how does Kelly need to show up online now? Like, what does she need to do? And being asked to be on everybody's podcast and like, press things and everything. Like I was so tired for months and months and months. I had anxiety attacks, which I never had. But back in February, actually, of this year, I had like 2 anxiety attacks, like back to back. And I was like, okay, I'm quitting my 9 to 5. Can't do that anymore.
Yeah. Do you regret going on?
I don't regret going on. No. I mean, it was an absolute, like, such a cool experience. I really loved everything about it. I mean, just learning more about myself, learning how to communicate more effectively, being okay with being vulnerable and having tough conversations. Cause we did. I mean, they didn't show everybody having all these conversations, but we had like intense conversations that people that have been dating for 2 years, or let's put it this way, people that have been dating for 6 months haven't even had. Like about where our finances are. Do we want children? What if we can't have children? Are we going to get in vitro? Like,
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Within 5 weeks, we were having such deep conversations, vulnerable conversations, and, about family challenges and things like that too. So like we got and I think that's why it was so hard for me, like after we were done with the show and the guy was like, peace out, basically. I was like, I just like you my entire life story and now you don't want to be with me? Like, fuck you.
What's interesting is the time frame to develop a relationship on the show. And you mentioned earlier that now in dating, you kind of like, there's no bullshit. It's here's what I want. Here's who I am. Like, what did you learn about shortening the time frame and upping the communication, from the show and that kind of thing? Is it a positive thing, or should people slow roll this? Like, what do you think?
No, I mean, I honestly think it helped me to just be more intentional with my time. And I mean, like now, like even in dating apps, when I'm using those, I'm like, because I understand I've been the person who's just gone on dating apps because I was bored and trying to, just avoid feeling something probably. And the attention. So like I have just straight up asked a guy, hey, like, are you here for a relationship or are you like just bored?
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, oh, and they're just like kind of like, haha, yeah, I guess a little bit of both. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just kind of like breaks the ice versus this like, I don't know, like beating around the bush banter. So I'm just like, I've been a lot more intentional with like what I'm doing, how I'm showing up. And I don't mind being vulnerable because, and I mean, like I went on 2 dates recently with someone and I mean, we got pretty vulnerable and pretty deep with each other within those first 2 dates. And I loved it because it didn't work out. And he realized, he was like, yeah, I just like don't really align with your like holistic beliefs and ways. And I was like, okay, but had I not been so open about that until date number 6, that like, not to say it would have been wasted time, but like, let's just get
wasted time, basically.
Like, yeah. It's like, just get to the point. Like, and I just don't have like a fear of communicating the wrong. Like there's not a wrong thing. Like they're going to love you or they're not. They're going to like you or they're not.
Oh, this train is going exactly where I want it to go. And I've got a great idea for you, Kelly, because you're so amazing. Yeah, I'm just thinking as you're talking, this should be your next book, and then B, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
You ready? The dating mindset, right? Like I just told my people, I just committed to dating, period. Like I'm going to start dating now because I fucking hate dating. Not because dating's bad, but I just hate people. And so I hate dating. And I'm like, well, I want to be in a relationship. So part of that is dating. Like it's not in a relationship to a relationship. The middle part is dating. So it's something I'm going to do. And then, so I'm psyching myself up. I'm building what I call dating mindset, I guess, since we're talking mindset here. And it's like, for me, I probably shouldn't say this on air, like we're fucking on air, but on air. I was telling my mastermind group today that I have to set experiments and challenges when I'm trying to do something hard, basically, because it's just the way my mind works. So like for working out, we're going on a trip in a couple of months. So I know I've got 50 days till that. So I'm going to increase my workouts, buy this crazy little challenge experiment, whatever. So for dating, I'm thinking 100 dates in 100 days, right? Because that's so outrageous that it'll force something to happen and it'll take a little bit of pressure off of every single date and all this stuff. So where I was going with this, I have no idea, but the dating mindset, how do we, women or men, I guess women, build a healthy dating mindset, if that makes sense?
Yeah. First and foremost, it's you gotta like learn to love yourself. First and foremost. I mean, so mindfulness practices every day, whether that's meditating, journaling is huge, obviously. Reading those personal development books, working with someone to help you bring light to, like bring awareness to the stories that you're telling yourself, how unworthy and undeserving you are of love, is really powerful. But otherwise, it's really like, with awareness, it's creating the image of like what you're actually looking for. Like, how do you know what you want if you don't know what you're looking for? Kind of. write out exactly like what your dream partner is, like how that person shows up for you, what their qualities and characteristics are, how you feel when they're around you, how they make you feel, how you show up in that relationship. So it's not just a one-sided street, like you have to play your part too. So how do you want to contribute to that relationship? And I always I was not a boundaries person for a very long time. That could possibly be why I am still at 36.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club.
But so it's understanding, bringing awareness to all of that, of like all the qualities and characteristics and everything of what you're looking for in someone, but then also write out a list of like all of your boundaries of like what I will accept, what I will not accept. And having that awareness allows you to see when someone is crossing a particular boundary of what you won't accept. You'll know, hey, that's a red flag. Like that didn't feel good for me. I don't like that. And you can either communicate with the person, like that's a no for me. And if they don't, work with you on it, then you let them go. And it's easy. It's an easier process for you to be like, okay, well, that's just not aligned for me, next kind of thing. Otherwise, if you don't know what your boundaries are, then you don't have the awareness. And when someone's the awareness is like, oh, this doesn't feel good. But for you to be actually able to draw the line in the sand, it's like you have to have the awareness, and then you got to honor those boundaries. You can't just create them and not do anything with them. You got to have them, be aware of them, and then honor them and be like, no, like I'm not going to accept these low accountability behaviors. If someone's not showing up for me the way that I want them to, then that and they're not changing when I communicate that need and expectation, then they're not aligned for me, and I'm not going to continue to waste my time. Let's do us both a favor and let go.
Yeah, for sure. Did you have therapists on the show, or like psychologists or anything in the background?
No, we did not.
Oh,
That was something like, honestly, I think I said this like after I was like on some like big podcast, and I was like, honestly, reality show should have therapists, like a mandatory, like that, like while they're going through the filming, after we've finished wrapping the filming, and then when the show airs, after the show airs, like it should be mandatory, whether you feel needed or not, because there's so much mental health issues that go behind that. I mean, when once the show airs and then you're publicized to social media, and then all the trolls on social media that just think that your story is real life on TV, and it's like they're telling you, sending you messages like, oh, you're gonna die alone, and like of course you're such a bitch, I can't believe you like waited until the altar to tell him that you weren't gonna marry him, like you're just gonna die alone, and all this stuff. Like it's crazy. I mean, and I didn't even get the like worst part of it. I mean, my castmate Jessica got the worst of it, so like death threats.
I mean, what is wrong with the world today? This is insanity.
It is. It really is. It's sad. And that's why, mental health is like on the rise, because jackasses on the internet.
Yeah, literally. I mean, I'm addicted to TikTok now, so I watch all these TikToks, and every once in a while I get into the comments and people are just destroying each other in these comments. I'm like, oh my God, turn the comments off. This is bad news. Like, yeah, that's wild. Those are actually, scratch that. I'm going to write the dating mindset book. You can't, I'll sue you. Eileen, fire it up, get the editors, line them up. We got a winner. We got a winner. No, I definitely love it. Love yourself, work with somebody, create an idea of that was so amazing. Create an idea of what you want. Right. And I've focused on, I always tell myself in my journaling and in my affirmations and everything, I want to be in a healthy relationship. And that's enough for me to be like, okay, well, what is a healthy relationship? What does it look like? What are the components, which is probably some of the boundaries and, things of that nature. And, I want to be with somebody that picks me up and makes me want to work harder and all these things. I was like, okay, well, if those are the parameters for the relationship I want, and this person is kind of not matching any of those, like you said, let's just pivot. That'd be chapter 6. Yeah. Pivot. Pivot. Hey, I have a really good question for you, Kelly.
Okay, here we go.
the guru. Since I wrote the book about love, obviously, and now I'm more confused about love than I was prior to writing the book. No, I asked people when I was writing this book, I interviewed lots and lots and lots of people, and I always ask them 3 questions. The first one, what's your definition of love? Second one was, how many times have you been in love? And then the third one was, do you love yourself? And the most interesting part of all that, well, there's 3 interesting parts. One, no one had the same definition of love. They were all different and all over the place, which was interesting. The second one, how many times you've been in love? Everybody, including the girl I went out with last night, says 2 or 3. It's always 2 or 3. Just, I don't care if they're 14 or 88. It's always 2 or 3. I thought that was interesting. But the self-love one, 80% of the people said no. And I mean, I'm full spectrum. Everybody I could talk to from everywhere I've traveled, friends. 80% of the people per this little study don't quote unquote love themselves. And so then I'm fascinated with, well, how the fuck do you teach somebody or help somebody move into the love themselves camp? Have you discovered anything that helps? Because you can't just tell somebody, all right, listen, love yourself. And they're like, oh, okay, shit, cool, thanks. And then there it is. Just like, what do you think about that world? Because I know you're working with a lot of people, and probably this comes up a bunch.
Yeah. And I mean, for myself too, I mean, just personal story. I actually did go to a, I don't even know what she's a massage therapist / life coach / has been like inducted into like the Native American family. So she practices like all these like Native American healing modalities and techniques. So like sweat lodge and all these kind of things. Very interesting. Anyways, very profound person. She was the one who did the like therapy session between my sister and I, where we had to be like really honest with each other. So, but I had a one-on-one like session with her, and she asked me that same question, like, do you love yourself? And I was like, yeah. I said, yeah, of course I love myself. A lot
Sure
more
do. Sure do. Next question.
She was like, she goes, okay. She said, so if you really love yourself, like, well, then why are you here? And I said, I was like, okay. And I just like sat there, and she goes, so what I want you to say is, I'm learning to love myself. And when I said it, when I repeated that back to her, I go, wow, like that felt so much more authentic and so much more peaceful. And she said, because you were lying to yourself at first. You don't really ultimately unconditionally love yourself, or you would not be here, because there's parts of you that you don't love, and that's why you're here. And I was like, you're right. You're right. Because we do. I mean, we're not these perfect angels. We have all done something shady, shitty, shameful, whatever. And there's shame and guilt inside of me, that there are depths of me that I'm like, oh my God, did that just come out of my mouth? Like in these therapy sessions, I was like, did I just say that out loud? Like, that sounds horrible that I even like would think something like that. But we have those thoughts, but that's what we stuff inside of us. And that's what's creating the depression and the anxiety and the dis-ease within us. And that's keeping us stuck and in the fear mode and in the slack mode, and not feeling worthy and deserving of the love that we're desiring. So how can we feel more loving of ourselves? Get fucking real with ourselves. Get really, really real. And I journal all the time. So it's a part of that. Like, okay, why do I feel so shameful around this? Like, what are my thoughts? What are my beliefs around this? Why do I feel so guilty? How can I release that? I mean, the biggest thing of loving yourself more and more is forgiving yourself and having gratitude. Those are like the 2 biggest things. Because it's like, we can't change our past, but we can forgive ourselves. And the more that we can forgive, then the more that we're freeing ourselves from that shame and that guilt. So that allows us to love ourselves more. Otherwise, that guilt and shame is just like holding on to us and pulling us down into the depths of hell.
It's so good, because I always go this route for the questioning, and Eileen loves herself and one of the happiest people you ever meet. And so she just sits to these fucking interviews and she's like, God damn, here we go again. Trey's going to ask about self-love and like, why can't these human beings just be happy? I just don't understand it. It was like, Eileen and I went to West Virginia to interview a snake handling preacher in the hills of West Virginia. And this is the crazy
I think we're in
Pentecostal.
Kentucky, Trey.
Kentucky? Was it West Virginia? Kentucky. We're in Kentucky. So we're interviewing this 4th generation snake handling preacher at Pentecostal church and like crazy stuff. Then we go to the actual church service the next day, and we're sitting there in a small room, and they're playing 1,000 instruments, and the whole building's vibrating. There's live snakes, and this old woman's burning herself, and somebody's drinking poison. And I look over at Eileen thinking she has no clue what's going on in here, because she, grew up Jewish and did this and that, just not a clue. So it's so fun to see you sit through these, Eileen. It's so fun.
Listen, I was curious though, because both of you are big journalers. I am not. I have in the past like written things, and then I read them and I was like, ugh, I hate that person.
Yeah.
I hate her. So I don't do it. But so I'm curious, like, do you go back and look and go, I've grown here, like, or is it just like you do it and then you get it out?
For me, I don't go back very often. It's just more or less because I just like don't think about it. Like sometimes I will, like I keep my journals. It's not like I like throw them away or burn them or anything, but sometimes I'll like go back and like look at it like and just be like, oh, what did I write that day? And I'll just like intuitively like pick a page to read. And I'm like, oh my God, like I don't even remember that. Yeah. That's like, it's so funny because we make stuff such a big deal that in years to come, it may not be so significant anymore, and yeah, I mean, it's more or less just like the way that I feel, like I feel different.
Yeah.
So that's how I can like, I guess measure my expansion and evolution in a sense. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it is neat to go back, like when you do go back and look at it and you're like, oh God, like.
Look at that. 2 years ago, still fucked up.
Well, mine, it's like, I look back and I'm like, God, that was a lot of wasted time on this, or this boy, or this, like, real. I want to look back and go, it doesn't matter.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what I've found is like our past is just an illusion anyway. So it's like already come and gone. Like all we can do is just move forward and do the things that are going to make us feel better every day.
It does leave clues. I write my goals in my journal. My journaling helps me slow down my brain, answer questions that I'm trying to answer, figure out ideas and like what to do next, and then write goals and like keep looking at them. And sometimes I'll look back at the beginning of a journal, which is months and months or a few years ago, and the same goals are there. I'm like, well, what the fuck? But it's a clue. I'm like, okay, well, obviously I'm either not doing this goal right or I'm not. So I need to reevaluate or adjust. So sometimes it's actually useful. But plus you can put your stickers on the outside of the journal.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Your Lisa Frank stickers.
Yeah, exactly. Around here somewhere. If anybody ever, Eileen, gets my journals, if I pass away, you just tell them it was all a joke. Burn them. Don't. They'll be like, he is completely insane.
I would love to read your journal.
Oh my God. Every once in a while, like, I'm going to take a picture of my journaling this morning and put in one of our groups. So nope, not going to do that. Can't do that. They'll be like, I'm out of here.
You know what? It's probably more relatable than you think though. Like whatever, not necessarily like what you're writing about, but just like how you're journaling. Like my shit looks like chicken scratch half the time and it does not make sense. Like I'll go from a thought to the next and I'm like, should I be like a book? Should I be like having complete sentences, like paragraphs? It's just like right on. One thought into, so it's okay.
It's brutal. We have a few more minutes here, so we've got to get into the questions.
Yeah, okay, do the questions.
Okay.
Do the questions.
So we have 33 questions on this piece of paper. You're just going to pick a number and I'm going to read that question. And if you feel like answering it, you can answer it. If you want to set a boundary and not answer it, see what I did there, Eileen? See what I did?
But you get one pass.
You do get one pass. So what's your favorite number between 1 and 33?
22.
20. Is that really your favorite number?
Yeah, it really is my favorite number.
Oh, that's so cool. Huh. 22. Whose love did you crave the most when you were younger? Mom or dad or sister or brother?
probably I don't even know. I would say probably my mom's, although I feel like my mom gave the most love.
Mhm.
I still craved her love. Maybe because she was the one that was more like forthcoming with it and just like, so I'd be like, oh, like I turn around for like the praise or something and like expect, like it's almost like I was like expecting it to come from her. Like my dad was there and he gave and showed love too, but I think my dad was more like not there too. I don't know. You would think it would be the other way. You would think because my dad wasn't as forthcoming with his love and affection, I guess, that I would crave his more, but I don't know. I just kind of had like a different relationship with my dad, I guess.
Was
So.
was it a loving household?
Yeah,
Good parents, good everything's cool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. My
Nice.
parents will be 41 years married next week, actually. So
That's insane.
yeah. I
Is Jimmy Carter still alive?
know.
He's
Yes,
not? He is. Is he?
yes, and they're still married.
75 years they've been married.
Wow,
That's bananas.
that is bananas.
All right, another number 1 through 33. That was a hard question. That was a hard question.
11.
Number 11, which is half of 22, Eileen. Get out the iPhone calculator.
Thanks.
11. Oh, this is a good one. What's your morning routine?
Oh yeah. Okay, so I practice meditation, affirmation, visualization,
Mhm.
a little bit of exercise, which is like just some yoga stretches, poses, reading, and journaling every day.
So you wake up. I know you're waking up at fucking 5 o'clock last time we did the core four,
Yeah.
which I was like, oh my God. And she was doing it. I was like, this is amazing. But anyway,
Which is great during the week. It really sucks on the weekends though, right?
Sucks on the weekend.
Yeah. And I was out of town one of the weekends. Like I was out of town in Charlotte for my friend's birthday. And I was like, I'm doing this thing. I have to wake up tomorrow at 5. I'm not going out. And they were like, okay. I mean, but it was boundary. Like I was fine not going out there. Like I don't really like indulge in like, I mean, I drink still, but like I don't out till 2 a.m. doing that. Right. So
You ain't up in the club.
I'm not in the club anymore. So I was like,
did you ever wake up at 5, stay up for a little bit, and then go back to bed?
yes.
I did
You
that.
can do that. You can do
I
that.
did that too. I did.
100%. I was like, okay, that's good. I'll take my picture. Let everybody think I'm awake. But I would still wake up like, decent, like, maybe like 2 hours later or something. I would like wake up. It was a nap.
So currently you wake up and then exactly what do you do? Like you go to the bathroom or whatever, but do you literally come downstairs, sit on the couch or on the floor and like what's kind of like the
Honestly, 9 times out of 10, I'm still in my bed. Like I will
Okay.
do everything in my. There are sometimes I do have like a meditation like pillow and like bolster and stuff that I will go sit on my yoga mat and do it there. Sometimes, but a lot of times I will stay in my bed. Yes, sometimes do I fall asleep? Yes, but most of the time I'm pretty disciplined about it. So I'll do the meditation, visualization, and everything. Probably like the visualization that I do. It's a meditation, visualization, affirmation, like all together. It's like 25 minutes. So I'll do that. And then I'll go into like reading a little bit and then journaling stuff. And then I'll do a little exercise. My exercise might be a few yoga poses or maybe a 45-minute walk outside. But I also I'm going through a mindset mentorship program right now too. And I have to do homework for that. And it's not every day, but I write out like money affirmations like 50 times every morning or as close to 50 as possible. It can take 15 minutes, it can take 30, it can take an hour to do. So, but yeah, so I'll do that and I'll listen to my, like the videos that I have to go through with my mentorship program. So I listen to, I literally do all of that before I start my day.
It's so the visualization meditation, is that a guided thing or are you just sitting quietly doing it?
It's a guided YouTube. Yeah. But it's like, it gets you like step into your dream home, your dream job, your soulmate, and then like working with someone kind of like, it's kind of like your dream life.
That's awesome.
Sitting in your favorite chair, opening up your closet, picking out your favorite shirt, like seeing pictures around your room. You go to work, like who are you talking to? I don't know. It's a really cool meditation.
Will you share it with us?
Yeah, I definitely will. Absolutely. I'll send you this.
So it's so interesting, like when I ask, like, tell me exactly how you do it. Because a lot of people are like, I can't meditate because I don't have a pillow and I don't have an altar and my back hurts, whatever. It's like, no, bitch, you can just literally lay in your bed.
Yeah, you can.
And like, or you could, like, I always sit on couch. I have to sit on something when I do my meditation, but it's little, things like this that like, oh, well, if that's the case, look, I'll give it a shot. Right. And that's what we're all about. It's just like, hey, listen.
I mean, I've used YouTube as far as like doing all of the meditation or the guided anything. That's pretty much my tool for it. I'll type, like, you can literally type in 5-minute meditation, 3-minute meditation. Like, they have that stuff available to you. So you don't have to do a 30-minute meditation to start out with, like, and there are times, like, I'm not expert in this. Like, I'm not like perfect. Like, there are times I'm 6 minutes in and all of a sudden it's the end of the meditation. Like, what the hell? Like, where did my mind go for the last 20 minutes? I have to do it again. So, our mind wanders and that's okay. I mean, but that's the point of growing your meditation practice, is trying to get your mind not to wander.
I was listening to a guided one on YouTube this morning, and I'll always do either Insight Timer we use, or I'll do the YouTube for the guided stuff. And I was like so zen, and it was going through this thing. Then all of a sudden an ad popped up. It was like, well, have you blah, blah, like right in the middle. I was like, motherfucker. Turn it off, back to zen.
Yeah, exactly. That is the worst.
Wait, so how long is all of this taking you in the morning?
Well, if I am pressed for time, I mean, I'll have to like put in like a 5-minute meditation. Like, I'll have to do that, but 2 to 3 hours, including, like, if I were to go 45-minute walk, obviously it's including that. But if I don't do that, then it'd be like an hour to 2 hours, probably. Yeah.
It takes me 3 hours to get to baseline.
Yeah, I mean, it feels so good though, like spending that much time. Like, granted, like, I know not everyone has that capability. I mean, I'm single, I don't have pets, I don't have kids. Like, I mean, I get it. There are people that have to take care of other humans and pets and things too, before they like go to their 9 to 5, and they may have to be at their 9 to 5 at 7 o'clock in the morning or something. Like, I don't know, but that's why it's good if you could just do like 5 to 10 minutes of each of those things.
Yeah.
30 minutes to an hour. Even if you only have a minute for each of them, then that's 7 minutes, 6-7 minutes that you spend for yourself. But as long as you plug into yourself every single day before you start anything else, that's what matters. And that's what will grow your practice on the inside.
Yeah.
Loving yourself.
Yeah. Loving yourself, all that stuff. Do you believe in soulmates?
I do, but like, I think you can have multiple soulmates.
Okay.
Like,
I'm down with that. I'm down with that.
Yeah, not just like one person is meant for everyone. I think like I've had a couple of soulmates that I was supposed to learn. I think for me, a soulmate is someone that I'm learning a really big lesson that's like life changing for me. And I think that there have been a couple of like guys I've dated that I could consider soulmates, or I don't know, one of these guys, I guess I never even dated him, but whatever. We had interactions, and like, I learned so much from that person. So I think that that's what the purpose of a soulmate is. They're supposed to help you learn more about yourself and evolve and expand you, whether they're around for a minute, a moment, a season, or a lifetime.
Eileen, have you met a soulmate?
Yeah, lots.
My dream angels come to Eileen to send messages to me. So even though she doesn't think she's psychic, she is a psychic.
I love it.
Yeah. Soulmates are super interesting. I don't think there's one person for everybody. I don't believe that.
They don't have to be romantic.
Yeah. It's like,
yeah. Just be someone that changes your life and you just have this like soul connection with.
Totally.
Yeah.
Kelly, last question. And this is not on the, ask one more number. Let's just see what comes up.
Number 2.
Ooh, when is the last time you cried?
It was I want to think it was yesterday, but it may have been the day before.
She's like, yeah, I want to say probably 2 minutes ago. So that's awesome. And we'll get to all these in part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Who is the man of your dreams?
Ooh, like a description or like a person?
I don't know. Like, we're putting it out in the universe. You're gonna tell us, and then boom.
Oh, it's coming.
Or I'm just curious. One of the two. So
yeah, man of my dreams. Very emotionally connected, high-minded, supportive, loyal, trusting, compassionate to others, empathetic, vulnerable, loving, kind. More
how
so,
tall is he exactly?
yeah, I mean, if we're gonna go into physical attributes, I would say like I really do want someone that's like 6 foot or taller. Like I've dated guys that are like 6'3", 6'4". I love that. I love taller guys. I know I'm super short. Everybody is pretty much taller than me, but like I really like a really
How
tall
tall are you?
5'2".
Oh, that's good. Eileen, how tall are you?
Almost 5'4".
5'3" 3/4.
But I have a tall personality.
Maybe that's why I like tall guys, because I'm just like vibrant. I'm like, yeah.
I have a tall personality.
I love it. I love it. We'll find you a 6'3", all those things you listed, emotionally sound guy that drives motorcycles and rappels down mountains.
The 5'7" girls hate us. They're like, stop trying to take the tall guys.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I always look at the height on the Bumble app or the Hinge app. I'm like, oh, well, I can't date her. She's 6'4" or whatever. I mean, I could, but she wouldn't date me, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. She might.
So cool. Well, listen, we've only got about 3 or 4 more hours with you today, so let's just get into it now. Eileen, press record. Let's start.
What was question 7? I'm just curious.
If you could sleep with one celebrity, who would it be?
Ooh,
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
That is a really good one. Oh my God, there's like so many. Oddly enough, the first name that came up was John Krasinski.
Who's that?
He was on The Office.
He was on The Office. And
yeah.
Military show. Ryan.
Yeah. That's a tall dude. Seems like he's got shit together. That's a good visualization of your man of your dreams.
Or like one of the Hemsworths. I like them too. They're great.
Yeah.
Eileen, who's yours?
You know my dream. Do you not know my dream?
Lenny Kravitz?
Lenny Kravitz, Jason Momoa together.
The Lenny Kravitz, Jason something pants sandwich.
Jason Momoa, Lenny Kravitz sandwich. Although John Wick, I was watching John Wick this weekend, and I do have a thing for Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, he's attractive for sure.
Okay. All right. That's it. What's going on? Oh, there's a cameraman outside. I don't know if you guys see that. Well, let's call the office guy and let's line him up, and you guys can hang out. And is he married?
He's unfortunately married to Emily Blunt. But...
They'll break up. All Hollywood. They'll all break up. Kelly, you're the best. I love you. I've always loved you. You're so awesome. You're so pretty and so awesome. So thanks for spending some time with us today. So cool. We're going to figure out how to put this into the world and give it to our group and all the things. And so it'll be super fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And now I've got to go into the dating world. Hey, Kelly, can I hire you as a dating mindset coach? Perfect.
You have a date tonight too?
No, I need one.
What happened to 100, 100 and 100?
It is. I'm at 98 now.
Done 2.
I'm fucking start.
What's your opinion on that? Is this going to work because it's a numbers game, or is it just becoming like a thing?
It's a numbers game.
Like a thing he's just got to get through.
So I don't know. Like, okay, so wait, back up. Like, re-explain this. So you're going 100 dates.
Kelly, this is what and let me have you evaluate this, please, if you don't mind. Let's start from the beginning. I hate dating and I never date. Right. So like back in the day when we were younger, I was at the bar, I was DJing or whatever. So I wouldn't have to date, just people would come around, and I was hung out with somebody long enough in those environments, then we would eventually come boyfriend, girlfriend. Right. So I never go out on like first dates ever because I hate them. And so I'm like, I got to figure out a way to just start doing this. And I've been on the apps before and I've never met the people in real life. Like I'll talk for a while and so I was like, I got to figure out a tool or a trick or a challenge or an experiment that forces me to get into the process. So it's like, all right, I'm going to do 100 dates in 100 days, which is basically the end of the year. I was like, that will force me to get super creative. That will force me to meet with 100 people, which is beneficial just to learn how to communicate, build relationships and all that stuff. And I'll make new friends and on and on and on. It's not like I'm sleeping with these people. It's just, I gotta force myself to actually go and talk to these people.
Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
100 dates in 100 days. It's wrong, right? So, I mean,
I think it is a cool challenge that you're doing for yourself. It's taking you out of your comfort zone, and I'm in that. Is that happening? Like, are you able to do it every day? I mean, is it every day?
I don't know how I'm gonna do. I mean, they'll be like on a Saturday. So I'm considering a coffee date or a walk, stuff like that. Obviously, are dates, but then I'm also probably gonna have to do like a 15-minute Zoom will be a first date. Like, and so I could knock a few of those out because it at least forced me to engage. And I don't think you should have any room to talk. You went onto a TV show where you didn't even see the human being, and then you damn near married him.
I know, I got engaged. Let me, and I have nothing to say here. I think it's cool. I think that's awesome. I mean, if you like within 15 minutes, like, I mean, our first dates were 7 minutes. So we did like speed dating.
Oh, wow.
That's how we did the pause, was like speed dating. So it was like 7 minutes, then I went to 15 minutes, then like 20 minutes, whatever. So the time increments grew. But I mean, within that 7 minutes, I already knew like potential people. Like I connected with maybe the way that they sounded or just like their humor or so yeah, I mean, I think you could potentially fall in love in 100.
What if there was, what was the sweet spot as far as 7, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, a long? Was there anything where you're like, wait a minute, this feels a little bit better. I get to sink into this conversation, or was there any of that? Like,
When it was probably closer to like 30 minutes. I mean, but granted, like some of the conversations, like 30 minutes went by, like it felt like it was 5 minutes because like, you were so involved, and I mean, it really did. It felt so quick. But then other people, like obviously I wasn't connecting with, 30 minutes felt like it was 5 hours.
How many people were on there that you had to choose from, guy-wise?
We all started 15 guys and 15 girls, and then they eliminated 5. So then it was 10 and 10.
So cool.
Yeah. It was neat. It was a really cool experience. And yeah, but like I said, I think like for me, because I had already started like my personal development journey and everything, like prior to filming, I was more intentional about everything. Like I knew when I was talking to someone who was just like not gonna, like I knew they weren't gonna be very vulnerable and not open up, and they were, the playboy kind of thing. And I was like, okay, I'm over you already. Like, I need the guy who's gonna like be really transparent right now, and you're not that. So, but that was just me though. I mean, that was what I was looking for, was someone that was just gonna be very intentional about things and be vulnerable and open up. Nothing's changed. I still want that.
I like it.
Yeah, but I think your 100 day challenge, I think it's awesome. I think that's so cool. I'm rooting for you.
It's something. It's something for sure.
Share this journey, and like I hope that you journal like after every one to like make a note.
Yeah, I want to find a place I can blog about it anonymously, like a platform or like a Tumblr or something. Like what's out there? I guess it could be, well, you can't do Twitter because then they know who I am. Like where could I put stuff like recaps and no one knows who it is?
I don't know.
Need to find that.
Yeah.
All right, girl. Well, listen, love you. Eileen, any final thoughts, questions, comments, concerns?
Got it all. Right? 3 minutes over.
It's okay.
Huh? 3 minutes over. Call the editing department. Have them come down immediately. Kelly, you're badass. V, love you. Thanks for
Thank
hanging
you.
out.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much too. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye guys. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.